Hello indie game fans, after a perhaps lackluster week of releases last week, we have an excellent set of high potential games beginning with Crow Country, a survival horror title about exploring the titular theme park which was abandoned after its owner mysteriously disappeared 2 years ago. Our heroine enters in search of him, but of course runs into all sorts of horrors and nails the PS1 era visuals, looking like a must-play for horror game fans. This next title might be a little bit more niche, since Rabbit and Steel is an action roguelike title with anime goals, but more interestingly, rather than being a bullet hell or bullet heaven title in this day and age, it is instead trying to replicate the feeling of a high-level MMO raid. Yes, that means a co-op focus in which players need to play their role of tank, healer and DPS equivalents, along with moving and dodging to avoid damage cones and zones just like an MMO. As such, it is quite a different kind of game, although the co-op multiplayer focus is always a concern since you need other players to get the full experience, but apparently is playable in single player and could be of interest. This one's for indie game developers. The free indie game marketing resources are ready, so sign up via the link in the description below to get it in your mailbox.
Can you hear me?
Ready for something weird? Cryptmaster kind of looks like Inscription from 2021, but monochrome black and white instead of the brown and black look of that game. And more interestingly, this is a first-person dungeon crawler RPG, but with a typing element to it.
Wakey wakey.
Yes, that is as weird as it sounds, and is an example of why I love indie games, since weird stuff like this can exist. I have to give this game a shout out since it's from a Singaporean indie developer, and God knows it's not easy being one in my home country, but more than that, Plushie from the Sky does actually look pretty good and has substantially improved as compared to when I first covered this. Interestingly, the developer has also changed the description of the game to a goofy action RPG when it was previously saying that it is a Souls-like, so I'm not sure if the stamina meter has been removed, but the developer still talks about dodging, parrying and blocking. Cyber Manhunt 2 New World is the sequel to an impressive title from 2021, being a detective narrative puzzle game with a big data and privacy theme, where I'll have more to say on this later in the week. But enjoy this narrated trailer for now.
The explosives. We must uncover his motives and cooperate with the police's negotiator.
Listen, Mr. Conway, I'll try my best to help you, but you need to first put down the detonator.
Help? I don't need help!
Calm down first, and the police will listen to everything you have to say.
The police has long been working with Titan.
We know what happened to you, and we all sympathize. We will seek justice for you and your family.
Fuck off!
Think about your little sister, Iris. She would be devastated to see you like this.
Iris. I didn't want to do this, but there was no other way.
That's right. Conway was fired for sexual harassment towards a colleague within his department, Jesse Walkley.
I assure you, those who framed you and bullied you will face serious consequences for their actions.
You're all murderers! I'll bring you all to hell with me!
I saw them, trading chips in Palo Rock Park's Eastern Grove.
You're just a loser. I shouldn't have wasted anything on you.
Now, it's decision time for you.
Tell me, Watcher, is there a feeling worth getting incinerated over?
Other games begin with 1000x resist, or 1000 times resist, a game which I've not been able to figure out exactly what kind of game it is based on the trailer and screenshots, but it appears to be some sort of exploration adventure game with a sci-fi theme that seems to have a cool backdrop, but I have no idea how this will be received.
as flowers in a garden of her making. Soon we'll grow beautiful enough to be worth taking. The All-Mother, she shines so bright, but Mother's glow is not as warm as it had seemed to be, and it feels very far from me, and it feels very far from me.
This next title, unfortunately, is an example of why gameplay trailers are a must, since the animated trailer of Brocula looks awesome, about a down-on-his-luck vampire now having to do odd jobs to earn money and survive, but then the extended gameplay trailer shows a game that looks like this. So to say I was disappointed is an understatement, but looking past the visuals, it's a cozy live sim game with a darker twist with the whole vampire thing, and could be like Graveyard Keeper. A neat-looking pixel art roguelite tower defense game is Cluckmech Oasis, a game that does seem to be having Vampire Survivors inspiration, but is putting their own spin on things, which you always love to see. Cosmic: A Journey Among Shadows is a neat-looking Metroidvania title that might be a little generic, so let's see how it does in early access. A fun title to say is Croakoloco, an idle game about collecting frogs and watching them hop around and eat flies, looking light-hearted and fun. I did not see this one coming since Farm Together 2 is the sequel to a very popular game from 2018, so of course they made a sequel, with this developer somehow also making the Ziggurat series of roguelite first-person shooters, and most recently the Bullet Heaven title Army of Ruin, which makes them one to watch.
you. You always hated my jokes!
A facility-wide code breach has been issued. The following media is to be watched by all employees. Welcome to the Employee Survival Guide.
I have not gotten a chance to dive deep into YouTube kid horror stuff just yet, but games like Garten of Banban are very popular, so we have number 7 this week, and to my knowledge, these are not sequels per se, but rather a continuation of the story as you descend deeper and deeper into the kindergarten.
Step 2. Hide. If hiding is not an option, cause as much noise as possible. Step 3. Contact the emergency services.
I was surprised by this game in my email since Gift is being published by Bushiroad, the same company that owns New Japan Pro Wrestling, and apparently they're looking at indie game publishing, with this being a neat looking action puzzle platformer about escaping a sinking cruise ship. A fun-looking automation title is Moose Miners, in which the Mies with carts are mining gems to sell to scale up their operations, looking kind of insane with the scale of things, but does have low graphical requirements, so I'm curious to see where this stands in the grand scheme of automation titles, being the hidden gem of the week. This thing's title is just fun, and once again, the Sisyphean task of getting all the achievements for Vampire Survivors continues with Operation Guns, one that is a crossover with Konami, and most hilariously, the developers chose not to use the Castlevania IP but Contra instead, and my god, what an institution Vampire Survivors has become. Love indie games? Sign up to my newsletter to get a weekly dose of what's hot, along with some news and of course, weekly game giveaways, so if interested, link is in the description below. The top 5 begins with Gatekeeper, a sleek-looking action roguelite that seems to have Vampire Survivors inspiration as well, but is more of a regular top-down action roguelite, and in fact, might be more Risk of Rain adjacent. You are entering procedurally generated levels to blast away at hordes of enemies and getting various power-ups, but when you do die, you do get meta progression unlocks so that you can just get a little bit further the next run. In all honesty, I don't think that there's really anything particularly new about this game, but it looks sleek and its playable demo has been very well received, so it's more of excellence in execution that is the appeal of this game. Switching gears quite abruptly is Little Kitty Big City, a cozy exploration adventure game about a small cat in a large urban environment trying to make its way back home. This game appeared at one of those Nintendo showcases and absolutely exploded in popularity, with its trailer currently sitting at 2.8 million views in 1 year, so to say that there's mass appeal here would be an understatement. I suppose cats in games make people go crazy, see Stray for example, with this looking to be a much more light-hearted take on that, rather than being set in the post-apocalypse, but not quite Untitled Goose Game in terms of the personality of the cat. Surprise! We get not one but two Konami IP crossovers this week in V Rising Legacy of Castlevania, a paid DLC to the vampire survival action RPG that adds in a bunch of cosmetics that can make you look like Alucard, as well as special shapeshifting forms, castle decor, a mount, hairstyles, and remakes Castlevania tracks, and more importantly, this coincides with the 1.0 launch of the game as well. 2024 has been the year of the survival crafting title, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this get another surge at launch, especially since they are wiping the servers, so grab a couple of friends and dive in. It's a persistent world crafting title in which you play as a recently reawakened vampire who is weak and needs blood, having to build up your strength and castle before venturing out to reconquer your lands. It has done tremendously well in early access and looks to get even more popular in that Valheim kind of way. I told you that I love indie games at the start of this video since they can give us experiences that you cannot find anywhere else, case in point being Rogue Voltage, a strategy roguelite RPG title with turn-based combat, but in which you are constructing a synthesizer with various parts and using that to trigger your attacks. Yes, it is that novel and interesting, which is why I had to mention it, so roguelite fans, this might just be your next addiction. It's finally here. The first game from publisher Big Mode, run by YouTuber Dunkey, is named Animal Well and releases this week, and has been a long time coming, having first started development in 2017, so that's like 7 years or so. This is an exploration and platforming focused Metroidvania in which you explore this maze of interconnected rooms to uncover its secrets. I believe the name of said location is the titular Animal Well, so a deep, dark well filled with animals, and more interestingly, does not have a combat focus, which is a huge departure as compared to the most popular entries in this genre. Still, you are not completely helpless and can use traps to your advantage, with Dunkey at one point suggesting that this game will have players uncovering secrets for years to come, which is a big promise, so I'm very curious about this game. Watch this video for more upcoming Metroidvanias.